Well, here we are for another GMP Thursday, and I am so excited about today and who's going to be with me today. I have to tell you, she's a very, very special young lady, and we followed her from her college days, her university days, and she'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. But we actually met her in Brazil, and she'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. So I want to introduce to you. Gabi Gimenes. Now, I think I'm saying her name right. I'm going to ask her here. So, Gabi, come on and join us.
Hello.
There she is. And now I remember this better than most people do. Maria Gabriela Gimenes de Silva now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Very
pretty
good.
good?
Pretty
Okay,
good. Very good.
okay. All right. Okay, very, very good. Well, this is Gabi, and Gabi is a wonderful musician, but we met her. When did we meet you in Brazil? We met you in Brazil. When was that?
Yeah, in 2006. And I remember very well, like arriving in the morning. It was a Saturday morning, arriving in Brazil. And I got this phone call from my church in Brazil. Gabi, we need you. We have an orchestra practicing at the gymnasium of the Brazilian Baptist School, which is right across from your parents' home, which it is the school that I grew up. I studied there my entire life, and they need you right now. And I was like in the car, so I remember dropping everything, taking a shower, and I was there. And that's when I met Camp, and and I met also a lot of people from Texas, which is John Van Hook and Jeff Balch. Um, they were there, and I remember also and they were very, very instrumental for my move to Texas at the time, because I was moving from Arkansas to Texas to study at University of North Texas. So right away, GMP was already a blessing in terms of connecting to the people, and that's God's people. I knew that the Lord was really setting up all my time already to begin in August in Texas, and here I was doing summer already meeting people in Texas. And Jeff Balch, I cannot thank him enough for the role he played, and John Van Hook as well, for my stay, my beginning time days in Texas as well.
Now that was summertime. So basically, had you just completed your schooling in Arkansas?
Yeah, actually, I completed in 2005, but I got a permission to teach at Harding University for a year. So I was an adjunct flute professor at Harding in Arkansas. And then I decided that I needed to do doctorate in flute. So I applied for different places, and Texas was the best offer, the best place to go. So I ended up going to Texas.
So you did your initial university training in Brazil for your bachelor's degree, correct?
Yeah, did bachelor's in Brazil, and then
Yeah.
in 2002, I went to Arkansas, which was another mission event. Conway, Second Baptist Conway was in Brazil in 2002, and I had already auditioned for New England Conservatory in Boston, and I got admitted, but I didn't have any scholarship, and I didn't get the TOEFL scores, which, if there's any Brazilian listening to this, now is the main topic, like the main key for you to get it into a university in the US. You have to have your TOEFL scores now. So I went back to Brazil, and I met Pastor Martins, which was the pastor at Second Baptist Church in Conway. And they were in Brazil doing some work in a place that I was helping, teaching recorder in the slums there in Brazil at the time. And he offered me, why don't you come to Arkansas? We'll find you a home, and you can study English, and then you go to Boston, to New England Conservatory. Well, from São Paulo, I ended up going to Arkansas. He shows
So that was for your master's degree, correct?
for my master's degree. Yeah, I went first for English, And then I met the flute professor, Dr. Carolyn Brown, which became such an important person, a role model for me in the flute world. And Pastor Mark decided that Nell Marie Bergfeld was the best person. She was the widow of the former music minister in Arkansas, from the church. And she had two boys, and the boys were no longer at home, which they are now literally my brothers. They became my American family, and she was instrumental. Nell Marie was my American mom. She lived, until 2012. And that was an important person. She's my mom, my American mom.
Now, we've had several people already signing in and just dropping little notes and everything, but a couple that I don't always have a chance to mention everybody, but since you've mentioned a couple, I just want to say that they're on, and that Jeff Balch is one of those, and Jose Muniz jumped on to say hello to, and Jusivan Santos.
Jusivan is definitely a very important person for us in Brazil. Since I am living now in the States, in Portland, Oregon, Jusivan has been a key person for me to connect me with the people also in the ground in Brazil. And what a special person. He has been going to different trips at GMP, which has encouraging other Brazilians to join GMP all over the world. So Jusivan, hello, my friend. He's definitely a very
so then you did your doctoral study at the University of North Texas.
Yeah, I got my doctorate.
And that's such a fine school. It's got such an incredible reputation in the music school there.
Yeah, definitely not an easy ride. Easy. Yeah. Which was so special. Camp was there for my last recital.
I was gonna say I showed up for your final recital. I flew over there just for that, and you did great. And for those of you that are watching right now, Gabi is an incredible flutist. And Gabi, I actually have a request on here from one of the flute players, Susan Kohari, who has traveled with us on a couple of mission trips. She wants to hear you play. Is your flute anywhere? Is your flute anywhere nearby?
It's nearby. I was just telling Camp this morning that after my twin babies, I leave my flute always like close where I can see. So I see her every day, and I play very little. So I was afraid somebody would request. I was like, I haven't touched my flute quite often. I play a little bit every day, but
we'll promise Susan that maybe you'll do a little quick video for her later.
Yeah. And I've been meaning to record. Somebody requested me to record a couple hymns, so we will post on the GMP page really soon. So I will.
I know, of course, you are married now. You have two little girls, and your husband, Nunu, he works for Nike. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that's how we ended up moving in 2017. Nuno got transferred through Nike, and then here we go again, another global missions connection of having Laird Hollings, such a sweet person, very instrumental in our lives here, for us to have a church home at Portland Christian Center. So it's definitely such a blessing, which was again a global missions connection where Laird has always been involved as well, and he's now my instrumental music minister here. So it's been great.
And Gabi is mentioning Laird Holling, and Laird is a wonderful arranger, and we use a lot of Laird's musical arrangements with Metro Big Band. Every time we travel, we're always using at least half a dozen of Laird's brilliant and beautiful arrangements. Now, Gabi, one of the things that I have loved about having the opportunity to work with you is that you know Brazil, because you are Brazilian. You know Sao Paulo, but you know other places there as well. And you have helped us. I had to come up with a name for you when we posted you on the Facebook page, and I just decided to call you our mission coordinator. It's not an official title, but that's the title you got for this time. But just because of the way that you have helped us in Brazil, have you enjoyed doing the mission projects with GMP?
Yeah, I was also saying that today. And as soon as we started another trip for next year, I told Nuno, I was so happy. Nuno was like, "Oh, you're totally back to yourself." I was like, "Yes, I'm ready to get here." And such a blessing. Because I think what GMP does, it blesses us that we are participating. We're blessing the people that wherever we go, and those people blessed us. So it's such a full circle of the MP in the world and us, and it's a circle of how God uses us and direct us. Gonna be working in the, you're gonna be fully blessed. And I thinking of like how much a GMP and Camp Kirkland can use. I love them both. You guys, like everybody knows how much I'm really a big fan of Camp. And Camp, I always call him my American dad.
I
Because
like
I
it.
really because he's such an important person in my life.
I like
And
that. And by the way, Donna Hughes signed on. She's on our list as well. So she's saying hello to you as well. And I know you've stayed in their home.
yeah, so a great friend, Donna, through Ken Hughes. I knew Ken Hughes first, and on going to University of Mobile, which now I've been teaching as an adjunct online for Mobile. See, another connection, because once we moved to Portland, I wrote Ken Hughes, and Ken Hughes said, "Well, listen, we're launching the online classes for University of Mobile, and why don't you apply and let's have you on board teaching flute." And it was great. I got a job as soon as I arrived back in the States, and it's another blessing. And I cannot, I always feel like, even from God leading me from Boston, instead of going to Boston, to go to Arkansas, which I called the place I was born in the USA. Because I love that place. And Conway, having El Marie, Adam Bergfeld, and Dr. Brown, all the people, Pastor Mark Dance, and those people were so important. They are, and having Elmer as my American mom, and then moving to Texas and having Jeff Balch, and everybody from First Dallas. After I helped with the First Dallas trip for Brazil 2008. And then I joined the church at that time after, which was such an important place. Eddie Ferguson, I mean, Diana Gooch, Lorraine Caldwell, all those people were then people that were so, and Mary Ruth Tucker, that were very, very important people. Like when you are in a foreign country, uh, to have people from that country to receive you and to adopt you as, like you can call them. I could call them. And Jeff Balch, I can open up this. He helped me even like with cell phone bill, like it's like that's how much he helped me. And it was so crucial. I mean, I could not believe I was a student trying to get on in Texas, teaching, and it was a blessing. And I'm now in a position that I can help others. And
That's right.
have a list of people that are students. I have a list of students that and some may be hearing too, that we help them. we help them monthly. Because I have that now in my heart. If they did it for me, no, that's it. I have in my heart. If I can do now, I will do. And we have been helping other people. So it's such a
That's wonderful. Now you mentioned having that you did go with First Baptist Dallas Orchestra, I believe that was the orchestra in 2008, right? And we went to Brazil. We took them to Brazil, and primarily in the Rio de Janeiro area, correct?
Yeah, that trip was real.
But now you also mentioned next year you're actually going to be helping us again in Brazil next year with First Baptist Dallas Choir and Orchestra.
It's about 150 people, most likely, but we have been working already. So honestly, in terms of getting the logistics, for such a big group, and São Paulo is such a hectic, like all the traffic is horrible. So you have to plan very carefully the type of hotel you're gonna get. There's a hotel that will actually manage to have so many buses coming in, enough elevators for people to go up, because sometimes we will have a big group and be in a small hotel. And then I remember being in Argentina, and we were also with First Dallas, and the hotel was small, so the young people, us, would go up the stairs because they had to have enough people to go up the elevator. So all this is always in my head, that we need to plan to have all the logistics set. In the beginning, I had a lot of mistakes helping GMP, but now I think throughout
let me say this. Let me say this, that for those of you that don't know Gabi very well, I tell her all the time, she is a mover and a shaker. She gets things done, and she is incredible. We actually landed on one of our projects down there, landed in, I think it was Curitiba. And but it was in Sao Paulo, because I had the two airports.
Yeah, and we were arriving in Curitiba at Sao Paulo.
Yeah, and we landed there, and we were supposed to have a bus there to wait to pick us up, and the bus wasn't there, and the bus didn't come, and we were there, and we called Gabi, who was not necessarily her responsibility, and in literally minutes, she had a bus hired for us and had us at the airport. And let me just tell you, Gabi gets things done. Now, Gabi, the Dallas Choir and Orchestra are going there and they're going primarily to Sao Paulo. For those of you that don't know anything about Sao Paulo, many of you may know it's a big city. The population in Sao Paulo is around 19 million people, and that's only the metropolitan area. The Metroplex is about 33 million people. I mean, it is massive. And she was mentioning the traffic. Believe me, we were a couple of years ago, we were set up in Sao Paulo to do a clinic at a church. And literally, the church was really only about a couple of miles away. And it took us an hour to get there every day because of the traffic, because of the roads, the way that you had to turn and go, and one-way streets and all that. So it's a difficult thing. But you know what? We've got it in good hands, because Gabi's going to take care of it and make sure it's done well. I can promise you that. Gabi, tell me a little bit real quick about your symphony experience.
Yeah, so from college, I always played for the São Paulo Youth Band. That was my first job. And then from there, I always end up gigging in different places. So once I moved to the States, University of Central Arkansas is connected to Conway Symphony, which if you play for the University Symphony, then you play for the City Symphony. And then my professor, Dr. Brown, is the first flutist of Arkansas Symphony. So then you end up having a chance to also to play for them. Not every job was as a freelancer. So at the time in Arkansas, I ended up doing that. And then moving to Dallas, also then it's much, much bigger, but I played, of course, for the schools, because the school has such a big symphony and symphonic band, and that's when I was playing the most for to the band and symphony
Now,
realm.
what about in Brazil? Tell me a little bit. I had an incredible experience with the São Paulo State Symphony. Did you even played with them some? Correct?
No, I didn't play for them. My cousin is the first flute. Claudia Nascimento is the first flute of the São Paulo Symphony Orchestra. And again, that was another thing. I remember we were walking around, and then we decided out of nowhere, why don't we watch the concert? So it's like I called the first oboist, and Claudia also connected, and we were able to get in for free at that time. Which now São Paulo, Sala São Paulo, which is the house of the São Paulo Symphony.
That's the Sala São Paulo is the symphony hall.
Yeah, the symphony hall, and they have been now. We went there with New Life Symphony 2 years ago, and now we've been in the works to also take first step there. And which, if you are watching and listening to this, pray for that. I have been having some ideas which I think can be instrumental in the music life in São Paulo, and I want you to pray for that, for us to have another opportunity to play there at Sala São Paulo.
When we were there, and Gabi was sharing a little bit about the story about how we got in to hear the orchestra. It was on a Saturday, and it was the matinee concert on Saturday. And it was once again, Gabi did her job. It was the people that she knew that got the doors open for us to literally get in for free. And I won't go into all the seating and stuff, but I will tell you this. I've heard major symphonies in the United States. I've heard Chicago live in their room. I've heard New York. I've heard Boston. I've heard Philadelphia. I've heard Dallas. I've heard Atlanta. A number of really fine symphony orchestras. That concert that day changed my life. It was one of the most powerful musical experiences that I have ever had in my life. And I'm so thankful that I was there that day to hear the amazing musicianship and artistry by that orchestra. And I look forward maybe an opportunity to hear them again sometime. Amazing musicians. Okay, I want to share a statistic with everybody too, because I want you to know this. Church orchestras have been in existence all over Brazil now, primarily in the metropolitan areas, but all over Brazil now for about 30 years. They've been building, about 30 years. And I love this statistic. Now listen to me. 80% of the symphony musicians in Brazil learn to play their instruments in church. There's a music education program in the schools, and the churches picked up the banner for instrumental music. Now, students could go to a school of music after school hours if they paid to do that. But the churches decided they were going to start teaching beginners there. And it's not every single church, but many churches.
Sorry to cut you, but that's a major point for Brazil, having the music schools in the church. And another God thing that I cannot think enough. I went back to Brazil in 2011 to write my thesis. I arrived on Thursday. I met actually my husband on Saturday. And on Sunday, I played in church. And that day, Selma, which is an important person in my life, she wrote me, she said, Cristal, you need to meet Cristal, which was a director of the music education program of Yamaha in Brazil. She said she's taking the CEO of Yamaha Japan to your church on that Sunday. Like I had just arrived. And so I was like, oh, cool. But I did then all the prelude, interlude, and postlude, and pastor mentioned that I'm back, they were happy that I was back. Well, the man wanted to talk to me with Cristal, which became a very good friend. And they said, well, we are launching this program in Brazil because we know that music education is so strong in the church of Brazil. That's why I'm here. He was there visiting the church. I mean, the guy is not a Christian, probably, from a different religion, but he was there, and then he that became my connection. On that week, I met Cristal and the people at Yamaha, and I signed it as an artist back in Brazil. So you just see how God is unbelievable. And for my friends that I'm watching, I mean, we live in such a time that you can be so away from faith, and I know I might have some friends from here, from Portland, watching this, but faith in God is so strong that whatever you are, He's gonna lead you, and you are gonna be amazed. Oh my gosh, how this happened? Well, it was God, yes. So I am very thankful, because then I had the opportunity to write this small little book, flute book for Yamaha, and it was my first little job back in Brazil, doing this work as doing the workshops for Yamaha, and I mean, it's unbelievable. So Lord, God is good, and we, in times that we cannot think, like, oh, honestly, as a young lady wanting to go to Boston, New England Conservatory, it was like my dream. And I ended up in Conway, which I remember had only one Walmart and one bowling alley at the time. And I thought, oh my gosh. And then it was the place to be. That place has grown so much, and the people in there, gosh, my people. So, in every place you go, God can lead if we do. Um, just believe in, always lean on Him. And I lean on Him in the morning, in the evening, like every single day, like, okay, Lord, here He is, guide us. And
Amen.
it has been a blessing, definitely.
It is so good to hear that testimony from you. And for all of you that are listening today, and all of you who may see this interview later via the video on Facebook, we want you to know that we're returning to Brazil with the Celebration Orchestra next July. Going to, by the way, have we talked about that, Gabi?
Yeah.
Going to Rio de Janeiro. And so we'd love to invite any of you. It's not on our website yet because we're still finalizing the costs on it. And but keep an eye out for that project. If you'd love to go to Brazil and see, I want you to especially see the work that is being done with children, using music as the tool to teach these children how to play an instrument, but using that as a platform to reach them for Christ. It's an amazing ministry that's been going on for years there. And you would have a great time with us next July. Well, Gabi,
go ahead.
I was going to say it's been great to have you here with us today. And any closing words for you? Anything you want to say?
I just want to thank Global Missions Project Camp, you, as I call my American dad. I'm very, very thankful after you and I instrumental also. You can use, you both have been for Global Missions, and to bless us, that may God continue and to use us to continue reach people all over the world. Israel, that trip was so life so much. Portugal as well. I mean, so many places that GMP goes, and it touched our lives and touched the people there, the people in Brazil. I mean, how many people we have reached in Brazil, and instruments also that are taken all over the world. I was just seeing Guatemala, the lady that helped us here at home. She's from Guatemala. I was telling her, she was like, oh, such a blessing it is. And so that may God continue the GMP, and I'm extremely thankful to be part of it, and I will continue as long as I can.
Well, God bless you, Gabi, and God bless Nunu, and God bless those two little beautiful girls of yours.
Yeah,
We hope to. I look forward to seeing you again this coming year. Hopefully, being traveling with you again in your beautiful country, Brazil. And God bless all of you who are tuned in today to see Gabi, and let us know how you liked it. You've been enjoying these interviews. For those of you that joined us last week for the GMP birthday week, we had a great time with that. And be watching, because we'll be having another interview next Thursday as well. God bless you all.
God bless you.